Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here on the second day of BGG.CONline, meeting with Kelly North Adams and Ken Hill. We are going to start the day looking at musical chairs. Card game just released on the market by Rio Grande Games. And Kelly is hoping you could lead Lincoln and Nikki through a hand of the game.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So you're going to start the round with 8 cards. You would deal every player 8 cards, and the starting player would play their lowest card in their hand. Actually, on the board, I see multiple little tokens. One token goes in front of you to show your player color, and the other token would go out on the board. So, yeah, perfect. Just like that. Awesome. So you've already dealt out 8 cards, I see. And the starting player would play the lowest card in their hand. If they had multiple 2s, for instance, they would just play a 2 down to the table. And all players are going to share the same central play area. So all players are going to be playing cards the same line.
The cards effectively represent the music that is being played. And the music is going to keep being played and added to by everyone.
Yeah, so kind of like a brief overview would be the cards simulate the play of musical chairs in the classical games musical chairs. And players are going to be playing cards to a central play area in ascending order until the current player doesn't have a legal move. And then the music would stop, and players would score points based on the chair they landed next to. And then a little power would come off of the board, and you would continue doing that for about 8 rounds. And at the end, you'd tally up your points, and the player with the most points would be the winner. So that's kind of the overview. And yes, the cards simulate music in the game.
Okay, so I believe Nikki played a 4. She'd move her token 1 to 3 spaces clockwise around the board.
Yep, just like that. Perfect. And then the next player would play their lowest card that's higher than the one that was just played. They can also play some optional actions, but I don't know how detailed you want to get into this explanation. But
sure, we can give some options available. You're not forced to just play your lowest card that's higher than what's currently out there. You can play a rest, a repeat, same number.
Yeah,
so you have choices based on your hand.
Yes, exactly, Eric. So there are other cards in the game as well, other than the suit cards, and those cards are rest and repeat cards. And repeat cards basically just allow you to play a card to the central play area that basically copies the last card. So if that repeat card was played on that green 5, it would effectively become a green 5 for scoring. And then the rest card you would play in front of you, and they just count points. And they just let you stay in place on the board. So if you're in a really good spot and you just kind of want to hang out there, it allows you to do so. So you would continue playing, just like Nikki and Lincoln are playing here, until a player chose not to play one of the optional actions, or they couldn't play anything higher than the card that was just played, and the music would stop. And then players would score points based on the chair they ended the round. Yep, perfect. Okay, so this looks like they've stopped here. So, okay.
Oh,
there we go. 10. Okay,
Nikki
so this is
this
is a short game here. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, that's a good setup.
That's right. Head to the green. You want the green, Lincoln?
No one.
And we just assume that no one has any cards, no repeats, no rest.
Right. So then you would score points based on where you are next to. So it looks like player black is next to the green. So they would score the green cards. Pink is next to the pink chair, so they would score the pink cards. And you look at the last card that was played to the central play area, which was in this case the green 10. And so the power on the green chair would come off of the board. And any player that's next to it, which in this case is the black player, would have the option of purchasing that power, and they can use it for the rest of the game. And the powers are varied. There's quite a few of them in the box, and the setup's random at the beginning, so each game's going to be a little different. I think there was a question of examples of some of the powers, and some of the powers are they give you more options to play during the game, maybe increase your hand size, give you better scoring opportunities at the end of the game, things of that nature.
That's right.
So
Different movement options. You can move farther or backwards or stay in place. You don't have to move at all. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case here, the 10 was played and the power was removed. So then black would take all of the green cards from the play area and put them in their score pile. Plus, you can also score any green. He could also score any green cards in his hand that is lower than the highest card he scored. So he scored a green 10, which means anything in his hand that's green, in this case a 1, he could also put in his score pile as well. And then
he can
blue,
also use that 1 to purchase the special power.
Right, good point, Eric. So because the green power got removed, if he wanted to purchase that power, he just takes any card from his score pile, discards it, and now he has that power. And in this case, that 1 was perfect because it's not worth any points. So he discarded that card and it was able to get a power that is worth points and also gives him a power. So let's see. Pink would score the pink cards on the table, as well as any pink cards left in their hand that is lower than 7. And blue is not next to any blue card. There's no blue cards in the central play area for blue, so they would not score any points this round. And that 10 yellow would just get discarded. Exactly. Perfect. You would discard your entire hand if you choose, or you could keep what's in your hand and just draw back up to 8. And then you would play that just again for usually around 8 rounds. Each round, generally a power gets removed. So on average, it lasts about 8 rounds. It's pretty simple to play. It's a little harder to master.
Initially, everything is worth nothing. Like no colors are worth anything. You have some idea of what's in your hand and where you might want to go, but you don't know how long a round is going to last and how far you can move and where is best to go. And it sort of develops over the course of a round.
Yeah, you said that perfectly. So a lot of it is determining what kind of setup you have at the beginning of each round, what cards you have in your hand, designates a lot of what your round's strategy is going to look like. And of course, what cards people play to the table. You might end up changing your strategy during the game because of what's being played. And then the tension of not knowing when the music's going to stop because you don't know what the player before you has in their hand. So there is a lot of tension there, trying to get on a chair that you really want, but could also score you a lot of points, things of that nature.
Okay. All right. We had someone asking about the inspiration for the theme. I want to make sure we get Ken in as well, talking about the other title, Gulf Mobile in Ohio. I can mention that Kelly North Adams wrote a designer diary about musical chairs that was published on BGG News. So if you go to the musical chairs game page on Board Game Geek, you will find that under the more links section, and you can find out more about the entire design and development of the game, which has changed since its origins.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yes, thank you for showing musical chairs.
Thanks for creating a great game.
Thanks so much, Eric.